Hey y'all. So I've shown you this before. The hay field is empty. All of the hay is up. That's a beautiful sight to me. It's a beautiful sight. And Hugh is currently down at Sean's. If you see that piece of property way down yonder, he is down there floofing hay for Sean because they're hoping to get his in the barn this week and have a number of nice dry days to make that happen. So Chelsea has worked herself to death up here, weed eating the rows and trying to get things cleaned out. Not everything is cleaned out, but you know what? Not everything's going to get cleaned out. The plants are big enough now to handle some weed invasion, and most of them will be big enough to eventually shade everything out anyway, because they're bigger than the weeds. That's what we wanted. This, as you can see, the coral bell, or not the coral bells, but the help me here. Chelsea, what are these called?
Bells of Ireland.
Bells of Ireland. Yes, the Bells of Ireland did not make it, y'all. You can see how yellow they're turning. They gave it a really good effort, but Lisa Ziegler, she says that really they need to be planted in the fall. They need to overwinter, and we didn't with these. We just got them started really early back in March, but the weather has been hot and cold and hot and cold, and the hot is what did them in. So it's just kind of sad because I really was looking forward to seeing. You can see, well, Chelsea, we might be able to use some of these. Come here and check this out. Come here and check this out. Because I think what most people do is they pluck the leaves out. And they go with the bells. I think we'll have enough of these to make it worthwhile, Chelsea.
Are these okay?
Huh?
So these are okay?
Well, the leaves you get rid of. I think most people just kind of get rid of the leaves and just use the bells. But next year we are determined that they're going to be overwintered. So yeah.
Also probably shade cloth.
Yeah, maybe so. So we'll definitely come through and on Wednesday now and grab what we can that's usable. And that's kind of pretty, isn't it? Check that thing out. That's a pretty little thing. Okay. All right. And this, Chelsea's real excited about these. These are, my mind just keeps going blank. Chelsea, what are these?
Peony poppies, black.
Yeah, okay. They're poppies. It's a peony poppy, and they are black. So hopefully we're getting to the point of getting a bloom down in there. I hope. That will be nice. She lost quite a few of those, but enough of them survived for us to see what they look like. These, I don't know what they are, but I might come through and actually go ahead and clean these out because they're not quite bigger than the weeds yet. But they look good, whatever they are. I don't know. That thing has thorns. Look at that. All right. So these need to be cleaned out. And then this, I think, is if I could ever remember, y'all. I've really got to make sure next year I label things in such a way that the labels cannot blow away and the rainwater won't wash the writing off. So either that, or we had talked about maybe just zoning everything, gridding, doing like a little grid map and writing everything on. But I think these are carnations. That's what they are. And I think they'll be okay if they can tolerate this warm weather, because there again, they're a cooler weather plant. here is some more of the other. It looks like a lily leaf, but I know we did not grow any lilies. And some more of the carnation looking things. Chelsea's in the process of getting us ready to put up some Horta Nova to give everything some support in a windstorm or whatever. This is more weeds and more of the, yeah. Gotta get in here and clean these out because these guys are not bigger than the weeds.
That's the part I haven't really finished weeding yet.
Yeah, she's worked herself to death up here. But I'll come up here and help her with this job. But yeah, pretty good stand of it too. I didn't think we had this much living, Shell. Just honestly. I think I'll bring those scissors over here and cut a bunch of those instead of trying to pull them because the ground is so damp it's just pulling up big clots of dirt.
I tried a little while ago, I couldn't.
Yeah, I'll just use scissors.
And then the dahlias didn't do very well down here, but some of them are.
No, but there's several dahlias. That's a big bushy dahlia. She has some that have actually bloomed. They haven't opened completely, but they are blooming. It's time to extinguish the Persian cress. It's done.
Never growing that one again.
We're not going to grow that one again. But we have a nice stand of lettuce. And, yeah, look at that, y'all. Nice lettuce. We could probably take some to market this week, Chelsea, if you like.
Sounds like plan to me.
Because we can't eat it all. And the birds are eating it, but they can't eat it all. What is this, Boo?
That was the binhoshi.
Okay, that was, yeah. So that was a broccoli.
No, it was a green.
It was a green, excuse me. And it has bolted. The problem with these early spring vegetables is that the weather just did not cooperate. And I'm telling you, when I'm saying it got hot, it got really, really hot. And then it's cooled back off. Today, it seems to be a pretty much average. We're good. Chelsea's pulling some beautiful colored beets. Look at those. So pretty. So
Ooh,
pretty.
look at this guy.
Nice. And the cool thing about these is when you actually slice across them, they're in rings. It's like a ring, a red ring and a white ring, or whatever color it is, an orange ring. And they're really, really pretty. And this, I think, is some kind of a Dara. We'll see when it gets large enough to bloom for us. And this is definitely some kind of a Dara. But they're really, really pretty when they open up. It's like a Queen Anne's lace. They look like a Queen Anne's lace, except it's not a wild Queen Anne's lace. It's a cultivated one. And then more dahlias here. And if y'all remember me telling you, a lot of the dahlias, we just kind of set them out too early. And so the ones that we set out too early, you can see that they didn't do so well. But the ones that we set out when they were larger, they're doing great. So, lesson learned. Let the dahlia have their time. And as you can see, there's so many that are getting ready to bloom. And they're going to be short when they first start blooming.
I think these need shade cloth too.
The peonies?
The peon or the
Poppies.
poppies.
But as the summer progresses, they'll get taller and taller. Here's one I think that is actually opening.
Yeah, there's a couple down yonder that are trying to open too.
There we go. Yay. And we don't know anything about them. We don't know the colors. Well, obviously that one's yellow. And we don't know whether they'll be a single leaf or a multiple leaf. And you can see our little bed of baby's breath. We cut pretty hard on that yesterday. And then this is dill. And if you were standing here with me, you would think that somebody's eating pickles. But this is the dill. Look at all those pretty colors down in there. I love the leaves of a dill. But yay. And then when the umbels start opening up, They're actually really, really pretty in a bouquet. And in order to get rid of the smell, you just cut the foliage off, and then you won't smell like a pickle. But we're getting quite a few. We're getting quite a few. Probably, maybe when we cut on Wednesday, or at least by Friday, we should be able to cut some of the dill. And we cut really heavily on these yesterday. Look at our bee. Hi, darling. We get so excited when we see a bee. Yay. Hi, darling. Chelsea always tries to get a photograph of one with its head all tucked in, its butt stuck out, of whatever, especially if it's a little tubular shaped flower. It is very, very cute. Here's another little bee. Hi, darling. But the calendula are beautiful. Yay. And it's and we don't know what these are. They haven't shown any sign of putting out any kind of bloom. Yeah. We'll find out what they are when they bloom. This, of course, is the Orlea, and it's a very, very pretty plant. Adds a lot. Has a very delicate little ferny type leaf. And we have a pretty good little stand of it. And then this over here, y'all look at these. They're called billy balls. What's their actual name, Chell?
Sun balls?
Yes.
Sun globe, sun globe.
Sun globe or billy balls or something, but I can't remember the actual name. And that does not want to clear up for me. Oh well. But anyway, it hasn't completely opened yet. But they will be very, very pretty when they do. Just little yellow orbs. And here's some more dianthus. And these, I think, are carnations also. I think that I showed you at the beginning, that was carnations. And you can see these are finally beginning to reach the point of blooming for us. And down here we have just a little patch. We don't know how we got them just kind of interspersed with each other, but we have a little patch of there's a little bee, of straw flowers, just all different colors. We love straw flowers. They're so beautiful, and they're so wonderful in craft projects, because as a dried flower, you just pretty much can't beat them. They are a wonderful, wonderful dried flower. We used them a lot last year on our little pumpkin arrangements. Here's some more calendula. These are very, very pretty. Yay. Here's some more of whatever was down there I couldn't identify. But this is obviously whatever it is that just bolted, took off. And these cabbages just never really did anything. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. I know they're weedy, but you know what? Weedy has never, oh, we have a few that have started forming a head. I may just go ahead and pull these weeds out here just to give them their best chance. You can see something's chewing on them. And the best thing for that is a little bowl of beer, so that the little slugs and whatnot can have a happy last day. And they get to go swimming. The smell of the yeast draws them in, and they go swimming, and that's the end of them. I think it's much more humane than putting out the snail bait. So anyway, we do have a few heads of cabbage that are doing something. Hugh will be happy because we didn't think they had done anything. And then down here we have, can't remember the name of these, but they're just a one and done. They only produce one little bloom per plant, and they're so they're not similar to a snapdragon necessarily. Their blooms aren't necessarily similar to a snapdragon, but their shape is. So we've already decided that for the difference in what they give us, we're not growing them again stock. That's what these are, stock. We're not growing them again because they take up too much space, too much real estate, when the snaps give us a similar pointy look, beautiful flowers, and multiple blooms. So it just makes more sense to just stick with the plant that's going to give you the most blooms in the same space. These all were picked really hard yesterday, so there's not a whole lot left. And I think that, Chelsea, is this whole row, okay. This whole row, down starting at the stalk, all the way down is Rudbeckia. And I'm not sure what colors we have up here. Probably an assortment, because usually something like Rudbeckia we plant as a variety. But yeah, we'll have more of these ready to cut on. There's another one. See the little bee butt? Now check that out, y'all. Oops, there he came. But that's just cute. I don't care who you are. Let's see. They're funny. And it's especially cute when their little legs are just covered with pollen. Like they have little pouches on or something. Little saddlebags. But look at the color of these snaps. Isn't that pretty? Those are beautiful. But like I said, we cut really hard on them yesterday, so there's not a whole lot in here. And this whole little section right here are more straw flowers. Down here, these straw flowers are just popping. Beautiful dudes. Look at them. Wow. But yeah, I really kind of even hate to use them in any kind of bouquet, because I love to save them for the dried things as a dried flower. Over here, this is, what are these, y'all? If I had a brain left, y'all, it would be no, that was the stalk down here. Status. Yeah, this is status, also full of weeds. But, and just so y'all know, we've had like 2 weeks of rain, so we haven't been able to really get in here to clean everything up. So that's my excuse, y'all, and I'm sticking to it. But look at these. Are they not gorgeous? Gorgeous, gorgeous. This one's bent over. They need another layer, because you can see how tall they are. They're up past my waist. So we may give them another layer to grow through, just to protect them from falling over. And down here, this status, you can see some that's a little bit better open. These pretty little purples. But they need to be at least that open before they're cut. And they are also an excellent dried flower. And then you can see this next row over. Those are dahlias. The dahlias have done wonderfully there. And this row is actually the straw flowers all the way to the end. I tell you what, y'all, I should probably go have a brain scan done, see if there's still anything in there. I told Hugh one time, I said, I don't think that, you know, your brain deteriorates when you get older. What I think is that there's just so much information in there, it's hard to compartmentalize it all. So when you need a word or you need a memory, you have to shuffle through so much debris. So our brains are just too full, y'all. That's it. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. Now this is something Chelsea cut today. There was two that had bloomed. It's called campanula, and they open up into a big bell shape, and it was really, really pretty. The ones that we got were white. I don't know if they're all white, but they were really, really pretty. Ah, here's a little white one. Look at that. But very happy with all of the straw flowers. That makes me happy. And Chelsea is going to, I gotcha. Chelsea is going to net the dahlias, and I should get off and go help her, because that is a hard one-man job. So I just wanted to touch base, especially since I didn't put out a video yesterday. Yesterday was kind of grueling. We made deliveries this morning, and so now this afternoon it is not supposed to rain, even though the sky looks like that. And so we have a lot to catch up on. And so I am going to get off of here and help her. Hope y'all have a beautiful, beautiful day. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.